Boom, hello and what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Miguel and you're watching Miguel EDC. Today we're going to be reviewing this guy right here, the Spyderco Yojimbo 2. And no, I'm not talking about my cousin, right? Yojimbo is the name of this guy. It is the Model 2 because there's the Yojimbo, which is a bigger knife, bigger blade, bigger handle. This one is a little bit of a smaller version of that knife, hence the number 2 in the name. So we're going to be going into all the meats and potatoes about this guy, the good, the bad, the ugly, all that good stuff as you're accustomed to here in the channel. If you're interested on learning more about the knife, I'm going to go ahead and put this on the screen here. If you guys want to go ahead and pause right now and read through that, you're more than welcome to. Keep in mind, guys, affiliate links will be located down below in the description. So if you want to check out this knife in more detail, if you're considering buying it, those affiliate links do help out the channel at no extra cost to you. So do keep that in mind. Got a chance to EDC this guy here for the last 2 to 3 weeks. It's been a very awesome experience so far. I got lots of feedback to share with you guys. And without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. So the Yojimbo 2 from Spyderco. This knife right here is a knife designed by Michael Janich, Janich, and this was designed as a self-defense knife. Now, I will tell you right off the bat, this channel does not focus on self-defense in any type of way, so I will be reviewing this knife from the standpoint of an EDC gear, it's just regular knife utility as a tool from that standpoint. So if you were expecting to get a review from the self-defense standpoint, then that's going to be a different video on a different channel somewhere. But from the tool standpoint, this is an awesome EDC knife. Can't really say enough great things about it. So let's go ahead and jump right into it with a quick measurement of this knife. We're looking at a total of 7 inches and 3/4, 7.75 inches right there total length. The blade is going to be around 3.25 or 3 1/4, and the actual edge is going to be 3 inches on the dot, exactly 3 inches. So we have a very aggressive, sexy looking Wharncliffe blade right here, right, with that very straight bottom right there. This guy's rocking an S30V metal satin finish going on here. Of course, the Spidey logo on one end, and then you have the Golden Earth Colorado USA Earth Michael Janich signature there as well. As far as handle, we're rocking a G10 handle all around. This is the intro version, and the only thing that is different on this guy is I have a deep carry pocket clip as compared to the original one that came in the knife. If you want to check that out, you can find the unboxing video on this guy for more details. And last but not least, this guy is a compression lock, so very similar to, let's say, the PM2 or the Para 3, which we're going to be comparing it to a lot here. This guy does rock the compression lock right over here, finger safe. All your fingers are out of the way, so when you push on this guy, the blade is free, and so you could use that to open and close the knife that way. You could, of course, open it with your thumb, which you could do quickly or slowly, just like that. And of course, the infamous, my favorite, the Spidey flick. Right, it's probably the best way to deploy a Spyderco knife ever, in my opinion. So yeah, if you aren't deploying your Spyderco knife like that, then you're missing out. So let's do a quick size comparison on this guy. Let's see how it stacks next to the PM2, right? Spyderco PM2. It's a little bit shorter handle, and I want to say maybe a hair shorter on actual blade, even though I believe the blade is about the same on both of these. Sticks out just a bit more on the PM2. Here it is next to the Para 3 right there. It's a little bit shorter. There's a little bit of a medium road there between the Para 3 and PM2. On the Spyderco family, here's a Spyderco Smock, another very interesting sheep's foot Wharncliffe, modified Wharncliffe blade knife right there with its elegant design. I want to say probably this one is a little bit longer based on the blade itself, how far that sticks out. You guys be the judge right there. Let's toss in the Demco 80-20.5 for fair measure. That one's on the clip point version. Here's the Wrap Model 1. Wrap Model 1, of course, going to be a much bigger knife there. And the Wrap Model 2. Wrap Model 2, of course, is a little bit smaller. No doubt about that. So Yojimbo 2 is going to be somewhere in the happy medium between these two knives. And last but not least, since we have it here, why not the Riyadh XOM, right? Riyadh XOM gravity knife right there. Pretty comparable. I want to say Yojimbo is a little bit bigger, but yeah, pretty comparable right there in the medium to large knife category. All right, so what do we have going on again with this guy? What has the experience been like? This is an awesome EDC knife, and from that standpoint, right, all that self-defense stuff out of the window. As an EDC knife for daily utility, this is an awesome knife. I want to say this thing eats cardboard for breakfast. It definitely shreds through cardboard, and we're going to get more into that as the video goes on. But yeah, check out this Wharncliffe blade. This is one of the most aggressive Wharncliffe blades that I've seen in any knife, and I love it because of that. It's also very good for utility cuts. Something that I didn't realize in the unboxing video is this little wave right here, or indentation at the top of the blade. So many people have pointed out in the video that that is meant for your thumb. So when you're gripping the knife, which is very comfortable to grip, by the way, we're going to get into that in a second, your thumb can rest here, and even though there is no jimping going on here, it's actually not needed. It's a little debatable whether or not it would have been nice. You do get jimping right here in the liners where the handle is, but no jimping on the blade itself. But you sort of don't need it because this is designed perfectly for your thumb. So when you're making those cuts, right, forward cuts and whatnot, like your thumb just rests perfectly right there, and it just feels so natural for it to be there when you're cutting. Of course, very good for utility cuts when it comes to cutting with this very, very pointy, right, very pokey blade right here, which, you know, if in case I didn't make that obvious enough during the unboxing, this is a very pokey blade that we have going on here, right? And then the other thing that this guy has going for it are these amazing ergos, right? Look at that. You have index and middle finger fall right here in this first curve, then your ring finger, and then your pinky, boom, right there, just like that. Your thumb goes here on the blade, and you have what feels like a perfect knife for it. Those, you know, chewing through cardboard, or, you know, if you're, you know, cutting wood or whatever, you know, rope, anything you want to cut, right? This is ready to go in the most comfortable way possible. That G10 is very grippy, and this thing is not leaving your hand anytime soon. I want to say the pocket clip that originally comes with it was a little bit uncomfortable, I want to say, but since I put the aftermarket pocket clip on it, not only does it hide in the pocket much more, only about this much of the knife is now showing compared to about this much with the OG clip. And then aside from that, when gripping it, hanging onto the knife, grabbing it, it is perfect now and is not as uncomfortable as it was before, so that's a plus. This guy is actually drilled everywhere, so for lefties, you know, righties, up and down, tip up, tip down, all that good stuff, so nothing to worry about there. Compression lock, very reliable. Very fidgety as well. If you're used to a compression lock from your PM2, from your Pair 3, then you know exactly what you're dealing with right here. This one is a little bit on the wide side, of course, right? Let's do length and height there next to the PM2, next to the Pair 3. And yeah, they're gonna be very comparable because the actual circle hole there on the PM2 and Pair 3 is gonna be a little bit bigger. And then, of course, this guy has just as much blade sticking out of the handle as well. So all three of them are actually very comparable as the total width right there. Let's just throw a few more on here for fair measure. Here is the Demco 8020.5. It carries a little bit skinnier there, right? Not as wide. Of course, the star here as far as slim Spydercos is the Spyderco Mach. This guy is super slim right there. Speaking of slim knives, right, there is the Ria XO-M, also very slim, very elegant. And last but not least, here is the Wrap Model 1 and the Wrap Model 2 there. So of course, it's going to be even wider than the Wrap Model 1 and definitely wider than the Wrap Model 2. All right, let's do some quick carry profile here. I got the Yojimbo on the left, got the Wrap 1 on the right here. The Wrap 1 is definitely thicker there. Here's the Wrap Model 2, so pretty comparable, maybe a little bit thicker by hair than the Wrap Model 2. Here is the Ria XO-M, still slightly slimmer there, very comparable to the Ria XO-M. Here is the Demco 8020.5, definitely going to be on the slimmer side, no doubt about that, much slimmer than the Yojimbo. And going back to the Spydercos, right, here is the Mach. Mach is about the same right there. Here is the Para 3, and here is the PM2. All right, so you guys be the judge right there. That should give you a good idea. I want to say this guy comes in at around $160, $170. It's going to be somewhere around the price range of the PM2 and the Para 3, which is very good. It has that 3-inch blade, which I know some people wish it was smaller for some reason. I kind of find it perfect the way it is. I wouldn't want it any shorter than it is now, but I understand if you have local laws that prevent you from having a blade of a certain length. That's totally understandable. I want to say the detent on this guy is probably a little bit stiffer, a little bit harder, more aggressive than the detent on the PM2 and Para 3. Let's see. I don't know if you guys can hear that or if the camera picks up. Yeah, but you can certainly hear that. Whereas the, let's say PM2, yeah, less aggressive there on the PM2. Para 3, yeah, less aggressive on the Para 3. So it might be just, you know, something unique to this knife, something to keep in mind. Doesn't really get in the way of, you know, EDC and this guy on a daily basis. So it is a good size. They're going to have medium to large hands, or not the largest hands, not the smallest hands. So somewhere in the average middle there. And this knife fits perfectly. There is a bigger version of this guy, which hopefully I'll have it in the channel at some point here soon in the near future. The Yojimbo, which is obviously a bigger blade, bigger handle. So it'll be interesting to see what that knife would carry like. Now, again, this one is made in USA. Golden Colorado, USA Earth, just like the PM2 and Para 3. So if you're looking for USA made knives, here's one that perhaps was not already in your radar, but now it is. You can see actually there's a little bit of glue or gunk or whatever that is on the blade there. That's from cutting some cardboard the other day. I've just been using this guy like crazy every time I get a chance. Notice the grind on this guy. We got a hollow grind going on here. So it's sort of like a trade-off. So you're getting a hollow grind, which looks very nice. I want to say very similar to the hollow grind that you get on the Spyderco Mach. And what it does does is it makes a blade that is very, very elegant to look at. Now, it's not going to be as slicey as the flat grind on the PM2 or Para 3, right? On these, you have the actual grind is all the way from the top to the bottom of the blade, whereas here it's only about halfway. So the blade is going to be this thick all the way to about a little bit less than the middle of the blade, and the rest of it just has this nice hollow grind going on, and it really tapers down to a very, very slicey thin edge. So that's something to keep in mind there for sure. Let's do a quick hardware check on this guy. Of course, my tools, as always, are very highly recommendable. They're linked down below in the description. You can check them out. Use those links at no extra cost to you. They do help out the channel when you do use them. I want to say this guy looks like, yeah, this makes me happy here. Puts a smile in my face. Looks like we're dealing with T10 and T8. So T10 in the pivot. Let me confirm. Yeah, that's a perfect T10 right there for the pivot. And then I want to say T8 all around. Yeah, that's got some big hardware going on this guy, and yes, that puts a smile on my face. The only thing that is different here, of course, which is pretty standard across the board, is going to be the pocket clip screws. Those are going to be a T6. Yeah, T6 on those bad boys. So you got T6 on the pocket clip, T8 all around, except the pivot, which is T10. Let's do a quick blade stock thickness on this guy here, shall we? And of course, I'm righty, so I don't know why I feel like I can do it with, what are we doing here? All right, let's see, 0.14 for comparison purposes. Let's say the PM2 is also 0.14. So it's just as, you know, just as thick as the PM2 there at the top. And I want to say perhaps on the pointiest end here, on the thinnest part of the blade, if I flip the knife upside down, we're looking at 0.01 inches there. So very nice from 0.14, thick part of the blade, all the way around the middle, then hollow grind down to 0.01 inches. And of course, then you have the actual edge, which is even thinner than that. Is there any milling going on this guy? Not much. I want to say there's somewhat of a line going on right there in the middle. I'm assuming that is the line for the compression lock, which is pretty much like a liner lock, except on the opposite side. So on the spine of the knife instead of the inside of the handle here, but not really a heavy amount of milling going on in any way. That being said, let's get a good weight on this guy. It doesn't feel any heavier. I want to say doesn't feel any heavier than my PM2 Para 3 here for comparison. So here we go. Let's see, 4.1 ounces on the Yojimbo 2 for comparison. The PM2 is going to be 3.8 ounces and the Para 3 is going to be 3.4. One last time for fair measure. Yojimbo 2 at 4.1 ounces. So what else do you need to know about this guy? So let's perhaps talk a little bit about some of the cons for this knife, some of the things that I observed during the time that I was carrying it, and some of my observations and things like that. For one thing, the compression lock is only a little bit less accessible than the compression lock on the PM2 or Para 3. So I did notice that, right? There's a little bit more of an indentation here on the handle on the Para 3 or even PM2, which allows for your finger to have a little bit more room to use that compression lock. So that's a little bit limited here for whatever reason. They decided to go with a square design cutoff on the handle there instead of that curve. Not sure why. I can see part of the blade is also right there, but same deal going on here with the Para 3. And yeah, it doesn't really, I'm not sure why they decided to go that route. I'm sure if they really wanted to make it happen, they probably could. You know, having a little bit more room, having a little bit more space from the handle perspective would have allowed you to access the compression lock a little bit easier. And of course, just like any compression lock, just know that your index finger is going to take a beating until you just, you know, get used to it, right? So it's just something that you kind of get over and get used to over time. But yeah, it would have been nice to have a little bit more access there. I mentioned earlier, there is no jimping going on here on the blade. Would have been nice to have, but you know, not really as necessary as you might imagine. One other thing that I noticed is there's no forward choke on this guy. So with that said, you can comfortably sort of put your finger here close to the blade if you wanted to get a little bit more specific with the type of cut that you're doing and things like that. But you're going to want to be very, very mindful of what your finger is as compared to where the edge is. I feel like if they really wanted to, they could have done a sharpening choil or perhaps a finger choil there as well. And that was certainly a missed opportunity. I'm sure there might be some mad scientific way as to why that is when it comes to a self-defense scenario. But from an EDC daily use standpoint, that would have been nice to have right there. So I mentioned earlier, right, if you have no issues with the hollow grind, then more power to you. This is again not going to be as slicey as a full flat grind like the PM2. So that's something to keep in mind there. But if you're not looking for the sliciest blade, then you're fine there. I mean, that's what I have my other flat grind knives for. So it wasn't really, you know, it wasn't really that big of a deal for me, but something to definitely keep in mind. For some people, the blade is a little bit too long. They would have wanted it shorter. For me personally, I like it just the way it is. The Yojimbo is even bigger, so I would have I would love to EDC one of those bad boys. By the way, guys, if you have a Yojimbo and you want to send it over for me to do a video of it, I would certainly love you forever. And of course, I would just borrow it for the time being and send it right back to you. My email is going to be right here on the screen if you're interested in doing that, or any knife for that matter, guys. Going forward, if you want to send me knives to review, it will be a pleasure for me to do so, and I can give you a shout out to whatever social media account or whatever you have going on. Or if you just want to stay anonymous, then that would be a pleasure for me to do. And of course, I would send it right back to you, and you know, your knife will be on the channel. So I'm excited and looking forward to that. I'll be mentioning that more going forward over the upcoming videos, so stay tuned for that. I'm excited to review some of the knives that you guys have. As you can probably imagine, right, doing so many different uploads, there's only so many knives that I can personally buy with my own money. So, you know, if you guys have knives that you don't mind letting me borrow for a couple of weeks to do a video, then I would certainly appreciate that. So more details in the description if you want to learn more about that. All that being said, guys, I mean, this is an awesome EDC knife. I love the Yojimbo 2. It was in my list of Spydercos to get for quite a bit of time, and that list continues to grow. So now I have the Yojimbo 2, I have the Spyderco Paramilitary 2, the Para 3, and I have the Spydercos Muck. I may or may not have a Manix 2 somewhere in order. Knife Center, come on, get him back in stock. Hint, hint, all right. But yeah, I might have another Spyderco here coming very soon. I'm excited for that and looking forward to it. One other thing I really would say, if anything, if I'm being really nitpicky, I feel like no other Spyderco does the compression lock as good as the Smock. So if the Yojimbo had a compression lock just like the Smock here, that would make it even so much better of a knife. But again, you know, the compression lock with the button here would be so nice to have on so many other Spyderco knives. So Spyderco, if you're listening, for whatever reason, if you're watching my videos, please bring a version of the button compression lock to some of the other knives. PM2, Para 3 could use it. Definitely the Yojimbo 2 could use it, because why not? All right, do we need to do a paper cutting test on this guy? Sure, why not? Let's do a quick one here just to prove a point. And yeah, the edge on this thing is crazy, super sharp. Boom, look at that. Look at that, guys. You guys be the judge right there. Let me know, rate it from 1 through 10. How sharp is this guy? Yeah, definitely, obviously cuts through paper, and yeah, you would expect that. It is a Spyderco knife after all. But how does it do with cardboard? Keep in mind, in case you don't already know this tip, whenever you're cutting cardboard, don't ever cut straight down like this. Kind of turn your blade a little bit for that diagonal angle, and here we go. Boom, look at that. I don't really have a lot of grip here, but you guys get the idea. It definitely cuts that cardboard like nobody's business. Closing thoughts on this guy, an awesome EDC knife. It's an awesome acquisition for the channel, no doubt about that, and it's just an awesome knife all around. For self-defense, I'm sure it's a great knife, but man, obviously that's not the angle or perspective that I'm looking at it from. As a utility, everyday use, you know, workhorse of a knife, this is certainly a knife that you can beat on, use and abuse, and it's gonna keep on giving. Again, around the same ballpark price as a PM2 and Para 3, so I'm surprised it's not as popular as those other two. And yeah, definitely want to certainly check out if you haven't already done so. Do I recommend it? Heck yes. This is a knife that I would definitely buy over time and time again. Absolutely. This guy has not disappointed whatsoever. I'm so happy that I got one. Trust me, it's definitely odd looking at first, and like, why would I consider this knife when I already perhaps have a Para 3 or a PM2 or some other Spyderco knife? Well, if you love Wharncliffe blades, this is definitely one to love as well, because lately I've been really looking into Wharncliffe blades and modified sheep's foot blades and things like that. And I'm telling you, I get so much use out of them, especially that Wharncliffe CJRB Pyrite. I've been loving the Wharncliffe blades so much recently, and I'm telling you, for what this guy brings to the table, for the S30V steel, which is a very pretty good, decent premium steel to have in this price range, you guys are gonna have a solid knife, solid workhorse of a knife for years and years to come. Guys, if I miss anything, please let me know down in the comments. I really hope that you guys have enjoyed the video here. Let's do a quick couple openings here off mute. Yeah, I love that sound. And remember, it does beat up your index finger just a little bit every time you open it. There are times where I had to kind of take a break from opening and closing it with my index. I would switch over to my thumb just so I could push, release the blade, then move fingers out of the way, and then finish with my thumb there. So that's another way to open, of course, and close your Spyderco if your index is taking too much of a beating. But yeah, other than that, guys, highly recommend this knife. If I haven't already said that enough, don't forget to check the affiliate links down below. Those links do help out the channel at no extra cost to you. If you guys like this video, guys, don't forget to give it a huge thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. I love the support that you guys have been giving the channel all of these past few months, guys. Since January, yesterday, the channel actually achieved 1 million views. So super stoked, super excited for where this channel is headed with all the support that I'm getting from each and every single one of you. I truly appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. If you made it to this point in the video, you guys are the real MVPs. Chances are by the time you're watching this video, the review video for the Lothar Leech King, this knife right here from Lothar Knives, chances are the review video for this guy is available in the channel. So I'll put a card for that knife right here if you want to check that next. Thank you guys again. Love you all. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace.